So let's talk about the United States of America and Israel, also known as the United States of Israel, also known as the two circle-jerking jerks of our planet. And let's talk about what their little stunt yesterday really was, which is just that, a stunt, a ruse, a performance, a failed flex, a literal dick-measuring contest where they showed off their little gherkin pickles while fluffing each other up on live TV last night.
God bless Israel, and God bless America.
God bless Israel, and God bless America.
These two parasites are the literal equivalent to the type of douchebag that drives a Tesla Cybertruck or a bright yellow Hummer to make himself feel like a big strong man, or the tool bag that puts a loud muffler on a Ford Festiva, overcompensating for their millimeter Peters as they try to make big noise all around our neighborhoods, as we disrespectfully stare them down as attention-seeking, narcissistic little bitches that have daddy issues. The bullies of the school that pick on those minding their own damn business in order to flaunt a false power in exchange for being cool to their fellow bully friends, only to grow up to be the pariah losers of our planet, bending over for each other on live TV.
I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu.
Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history.
It is no surprise what happened last night. It is absolutely hilarious how pathetic these two clowns looked on the global stage, especially how Donald Trump is now viewed to his devout MAGA followers, to which they now see what Trump really stands for, which isn't Make America Great Again, but Make America Netanyahu's anus. Yes, manna, which is ironic because neither one can claim to be a manna amongst the real men of this world. To summarize what happened last night, let me show you a simple graphic representation to get you up to speed. To preface, Israel bombed Iran, falsely claiming for the 33rd year straight that Iran is building nuclear weapons, which it hasn't. Iran defended itself and retaliated by bombing Israel with old missiles built back in 2007, withholding its modern weapons until Israel's defense system is deemed futile, as it has been shown to be the past few days, while Israel bleeds $1 billion a day trying to thwart off Iran's onslaught. The U.S., which is run by an orange imbecile that does not understand the concept of receipts and comments that don't age well, who ran on his core principle of being an anti-war president that berated Bush and Obama on camera for wanting to go to war with Iraq and Iran, respectively, who claims to operate on America First rhetoric, just walked out of the bathroom, wiping his mouth, as Netanyahu walked out, zipping his pants back up, as Trump sold out America to get on bended knee for Israel, going to war with a country that never attacked or did anything to America, aside from standing up to their terrorist butt buddy that is starting fights with practically every country in the Middle East just to stay afloat using the Western world's money and weapons, as practically every single human being on this earth hates Israel's guts now. You'd think the way they described the operation with their third-grade adjectives.
The strikes were a spectacular military success.
Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history.
The operation President Trump planned was bold, and it was brilliant, showing the world that American deterrence is back.
That it was a resounding success through the destruction of Iran. But it was the most pitiful operation and subsequent pathetic theatrics I have ever seen. Let me explain. Iran took all of their uranium, which is a key significant ingredient to making nuclear bombs, out of the 3 nuclear facilities that the U.S. bombed last night, months ago. Yes, this means that the U.S. basically bombed empty buildings so that they can go on live TV with their besties Israel and gloat to the world about how powerful they are, while this sack of rotten orange peels goes to social media to say that now that they bombed Iran, they can now attempt to have peace. While Iran straight up laughed in their faces and continued to bomb Israel harder than ever just a few hours later. Now you've got American soldiers spread across the Middle East, uninvited, particularly near Yemen and Iran, quite literally shitting themselves over the buffoonery tactics of 2 Nazi-like fascists that have now put their lives in danger for a war I bet a majority of the active duty military wanted no part in. America first, eh? And speaking of Yemen and Iran, do you know how screwed the U.S., Israel, and the Western powers that be are as a result of the location that Yemen and Iran sit geographically? And by screwed, I mean the citizens of the U.S. and Western countries who will feel the effects of this idiotic escalation. You see these 2 points right here? These are 2 major trade and shipping lanes for the global economy. The one by Iran is called the Strait of Hormuz, which is one of the most critical oil transit choke points. And if you saw the news from today, the Iran parliament just voted to close the Strait of Hormuz after the U.S. attacked on Iran. The final decision still lands on Khamenei. But if this goes through, it will have disastrous effects, some of which include significant decrease in global oil supply, and a sharp surge in oil prices, potentially exceeding $100 a barrel, where some experts estimate prices could reach $120 to $130 per barrel. Rising oil prices would lead to increased costs for fuel products like gasoline and diesel. In the U.S., experts suggest gas prices could jump by more than $1 per gallon, potentially reaching $5 to $7 per gallon or more. A closure would also severely impact nations relying on liquid natural gas imports from the Gulf, like Japan, South Korea, China, and India, potentially leading to energy shortages. Beyond energy, the strait is a key artery for global trade, transporting raw materials, electronics, and consumer products. Closure would cause delays, shortages, and price increases globally. You'll basically see massive increased inflation across the globe. Then there's the Yemen's Bab el-Mandeb, which leads to the world-famous Suez Canal. Yemen controls the waters there and have a tight, firm grip on the U.S. and Israel's tiny balls when it comes to this trade route. Bab el-Mandeb Strait is critically important for global trade, acting as a key choke point connecting the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean. It facilitates the passage of a significant portion of the world's oil and other goods. Its strategic location makes it a vital maritime route. And just like the Strait of Hormuz, disruptions here can have major global economic consequences. And yes, it significantly impacts Egypt's economy. Yes, the Egypt that has been letting Israelis cross into their country for free to flee the Iran attacks, but charging Palestinians trying to evacuate Gaza $5,000 to $10,000 a pop. The Egypt leadership that has done jack shit for Palestinians as a proxy for Israel. Fun fact, the Houthis significantly contributed to Egypt's economic losses. Just last year, Egypt's revenue from the Suez Canal reportedly plummeted about 60%, and some estimates suggest a loss of around $7 billion in revenue for the year. And let it be known that Yemen firmly stands with Iran and Palestine. So strategically, the U.S. and Israel are fucked. The sick part is, what did you really expect from demonic entities like these two that have made a living by demeaning, dehumanizing, and destabilizing regions and people that are already suffering, whether it be domestically via minorities in the U.S. suffering from extreme inequality and oppression, or overseas in the Middle East, particularly the Palestinian people that have lived under a brutal, oppressive apartheid occupation for over 77 years? What did you really expect from demonic entities like these two that have made a living by using their power to pick on those that aren't their size? Where if I was being literal about it, grown-ass adults are literally killing children in mass without repercussion or action to stop it. Whether it be mass school shootings all over the U.S. that still happen until this very day via white terrorists that predominantly operate under his ideology, or the direct targeting of children by the most extreme terrorist entity in the history of mankind, where they have killed tens of thousands of children and actively starved them to death as we speak. Where they actually detain, cage, deport, or even kill children using their coward police, ICE agents, and pathetic excuses of soldiers waving around their big guns. What did you really expect from demonic entities like these two that have made a living by creating havens of sexual assault and exploitation of minors that can't fight for themselves in order for men like them to feel big and powerful? Hanging out with diddlers and ziddlers and being best friends with misogynistic, power-hungry psychopaths that have nothing left in this life but to create phallic spaceships for them to ride on. Only one of them is now not so nicey nice anymore, and is exposing what we all basically knew, which is that Trump regularly hung out with a notorious child sex trafficker and pedophile, who happened to be affiliated with the Israeli Mossad that has been blackmailing U.S. politicians in power, including our current United States president that has continuously been going back on his word to his American citizens in order to appease the entity that is blackmailing him. What did you really expect from demonic entities like these two that have made a living by continuously lying to your faces, saying that they're the best at everything that they do?
I understand things. I comprehend very well. Okay? Better than, I think, almost anybody.
I can tell you categorically, there is no army in the world that acts in a more moral fashion than the army of Israel.
It is so blatantly obvious what is at play here. Two narcissistic, misogynistic, child-killing, rape-encouraging, tandem-jerking, sociopathic psychopaths picking on a people they have been falsely and systemically dehumanized for decades, trying to save face by gassing each other up and making each other proud in front of a world that sees through their bullshit. While Iran is playing chess, the U.S. and Israel are not even playing checkers. They're playing fucking Candyland at this point. Just two suckers sucking each other off to make one another feel good as their citizens ultimately pay the price of their narcissistic, ego and dick-inflating power games. You've managed to put both of your democratic countries on the verge of a civil war, eroding yourselves from the inside out, while Iran and potentially some other superpowers are just getting started with the destruction of your empires. While you diddle each other and try to climb Sucker Mountain together, just know that the real men of this world are about to put you in checkmate. Good night.